Connection established. Sending interactive video.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to me, too. We've been without a little bit of electricity and all kind of good things because of our lovely friend Hurricane Beryl, who did one heck of a crappy landscaping job, I'm here to tell you. So we're still trying to get it back together, but I am John Nelson, the plugin CEO of JKO Works and Plugin Business, and a few other projects going on. And I wanted to, I guess it was good because I wanted to take a little bit of time and sort of rethink this. Those of you who are gracious enough to come spend your Thursday afternoon with us, or whenever it is that you're watching this, I sincerely appreciate it. What I have come to discover is that there's still, as much as I know and as much as I've learned and as much as I've passed along to people and as many businesses as we've gotten in the middle of making a difference for, there's still more to learn. And some of that has to do with, I'm constantly learning things from my clients, constantly, not only about their business aspects themselves, but different things that they do, different tactics that they bring. And one of the things that I have always wondered about, or not wondered about, but sort of that I think is cool about this whole thing is the whole concept of being a coach is an interactive thing, and it's not everybody understands what that is. They're used to handing it off to somebody and praying to some service that comes calling that provides a specific product or service, and you hand it to them with the idea that they're going to do that job well. And that's, for many of those services, that works well, especially some of the ones we're going to talk about today. We're going to delve into the home services world. And that includes commercial building, but it's building and repairs and contracting and blue collar stuff. So we're really going to get into that now. So I wanted to take this time and kind of speak to a couple of different groups within that subset. And we're going to run a little bit of profit simulation. I'm actually going to, and the team is working on this now, and you'll see the results of this a little bit more as we go along. Not today, but very, very soon. We are going to go into specific niches of businesses, and we're really going to talk about, okay, what are their keys to success? What are their keys to success that we would help them with, and we would nurture, and we would get going, and why? So I want to spend a little time talking about that today. And in so doing, sort of help create what the coaching relationship is. I've got over 60 something total strategies that I could try on any given business. And I say try, we could use on any given business or get you to the point that you're using. But a coaching relationship is an interactive thing. This is not just handing it off to me and say, you fix it. It doesn't work like that. It's your business. I have no more. You don't want me coming in your business and getting into all the books and seeing what you pay for stuff. And it's not that I would do anything bad with that. It's very much like a doctor-patient relationship. There are things that I will know about your business with you as my client that I won't divulge to anybody, because if I did, the word got out, I'd never be trusted with business again, would I? So we have to have some confidentiality. We have to have some understanding there that that's not going to happen. And so, but I do want to take and apply different things, different strategies there, but I want you to apply those, and I want to help you work on those, and I'll do my part. My group will do their part to make this happen. But in the end, it's your business. It's your success. It's your investment, not only of money to me, but money in your business. And most importantly, your time. So you don't end up in a situation like we find a lot of clients when we first start, or for a lot of prospects, I should say, people that are time poor, people whose they like a couple we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about electricians. You guys have all the customers for the most part. You don't have to do a lot to find a customer who needs electrical work done. You really don't, if you're honest with yourself. But there are other things that are issues that can be just as important to you, but they meet you a little differently. Whereas somebody like the other group we're going to talk about today, sort of general contractors, and yes, this could be the large, we're going to build a building or school or whatever, but this could also be the smaller home, the home remodelers, the house customizers, the some of those people, or building customizers as they change spaces to accommodate something, a new business that's coming in. They're reconfiguring a commercial space to bring somebody in, and all the needs that go with that, with, say, converting something that was a regular store over to something that was a restaurant, that becomes a restaurant, and everything that's involved in that. That's no small feat. And so, or vice versa. And so it is, I was thinking about this as we pulled up to a place that gives swimming lessons the other day, and it's in a commercial shopping center. If you didn't see the sign on the door and understand what it obviously is, you wouldn't know there's pools in there. Because it's a regular storefront, but yet when you go in, there are swimming pools. There's a couple of in-ground swimming pools that were put in there by design to handle this business. Well, what if something happened and they decided to move, or they were no longer in business or whatever, and they had to rework that space? How would they do that? So it's things like that. But general contractors, they don't have the customers always. So they have to, like a lot of businesses, like most businesses, in fact, they have to go find them, and they have to go build that network, and they have to build those different things. Now, I have some friends that are general contractors that may or may not watch this ever. So just know I'm trying to reach out to you guys, and we will have some conversations so I can continue to learn about the industry, because there's some pretty forward-thinking people. And so it's that would be good to get involved and get to know that situation. So let's dive into this just a little bit, and let's profile a couple of different businesses and talk about the strategies that we would use for each one of them, and factor in how the coaching relationship is different from, say, a digital marketing agency. Okay. Yes, there is marketing in what we do. We will talk about marketing concepts today. They do matter. They are important. They are useful. They are needed. But the coaching relationship of this is different, and I think you'll see how that works here in just a moment. So, if you will permit me, I have about 14 windows open at the same time, so I'm trying to work through the different ones. So let's make sure we get this done, and we will go visit the Profit Acceleration Simulator. In fact, let me just go ahead and do this full screen. There we go. Love StreamYard. It's awesome. Okay. So we're in the full, and now, so let's talk about, you see some numbers here. Let's talk about electricians for a second. Okay. If we can do that. So electricians, they are, I'm just going to work this up just a little bit. Okay, there we go. So electricians are some of those folks, like I said before, this is who we're talking about right now. And these folks, you don't typically need business. If you slap something on the side of your truck and drive around a neighborhood, or drive around a business park, or drive around somewhere, and it says that you're an electrician, you're going to get flagged by somebody. The chances are better than average. If your friends and your peer groups and different things and different companies or different people, individuals, if you do residential work, find out you're an electrician, you best believe somebody's going to look you up and say, hey, what kind of, you're an electrician. Let me see if I can help you. You want some business? Right now, in the hurricane part of Houston, Texas, electricians are electricity provider companies is a different story. They've some balls have been dropped there for sure, and some that will be examined over time. As an infrastructure was not ready, it was a bit under. Some costs were cut to make sure that profits were there, and so they didn't do some of the preventative maintenance things that might have made this easier. And as we're doing this a week and 3 days on, there are still places day 11 without power, and I don't know when they're going to get it. And it's a significant little chunk of space. Now, the majority of folks have, thanks to the work of some incredible linemen and people that were, that do this all day. Whenever there are storms happen, utility companies send crews to each other's aid, mutual aid, all across the country. This happens. If you didn't know it happens, it does. And that's one of the cool things. So, I mean, the people fixing the electricity in your neighborhood could very well be from a different state, because they have come in to help during these situations, during these natural disasters. And then when the time is right and we're not in the path, then our companies will send people to go to these other places to help. It's part of the way it works. Okay, so that's not the people we're talking about, but we're talking about the last mile, so to speak, electrician. That whether you do this residentially, whether you do this commercially, this is what you do. Now, you're seeing some numbers here, and I don't know if this is your company or not, but these are based off of researched averages, national averages for the United States. Okay, so if this is not you, let's talk about what that looks like. But $793,000 in revenue. Now, keep in mind, this is before any expenses, before anything comes out. This is all money comes in is $793,000 a year on average. So, that's a little less. If we were to do our math, that's about, $65,000 a month in revenue. Okay. Yeah, just ballparking it without doing the math. So let's look at then, because we have our thing about gross profits is what happens when all the stuff that's needed to fix the problem in this case, or install something new. So that's all the little parts, all the little tools. I mean, all the little, not tools, all the parts, all the different wire for a specific, exactly the wire that you need to solve the problem and all that. When that comes out, then that's 65. So 35% of the total revenue goes toward that. And you're left with a remainder before you've paid anybody, before you've paid any ongoing expenses of 65%. So 65% of $793,000, right? So here's the real drop off that kind of surprised me. And I'm not sure this is accurate, but I will continue to research it. And after seeing some of the general contractor numbers, this possibly could be. So once you take out overhead, paying employees, paying a vehicle, you pay a vehicle for expenses, guys, because it has expenses, oil changes, fuel, preventative maintenance, retooling of the truck, getting tools in the first place that you use for multiple jobs, and really keeping track of that and all. And so that ends up putting you at about 5% of total. Okay. So that just seems like a very low number, but I could be very wrong. Place in the comments, if you are an electrician, place in the comments, what you on the average on a percentage margin, what the net profit is for that, what your absolute take home is once all expenses are met. You as the owner would take home. If you're a one person shop, then you get to take all of it home. But if not, if you're a company, then this may be where you end up as an owner. But let's see what that does. So if we're talking about 12 strategies here, and we're going to narrow that down in just a minute. But if we pulled in all those and said, okay, if we increased all those by 5%, you see a rather impressive looking graph over here. So let's wander down and actually put some numbers to that. So $793,000 was our total. Look at our revenue down below, right? So our revenue down below here is $563,000. Okay, not too shabby for $1.3 million. So this is what we would find you working together, running through all these strategies in the next year. Now let's look at the profits over here. So you started with $39,000 a month. Or I'm sorry, $39,000 a year. That's a year, kids. So dividing that out by 12 gets you a little over $3,000 a month. Okay. And then look, it is running through all those 12 strategies. It absolutely blows up to a level you can't even figure out at $458,000. Okay. That's employing all those things. Now, how does that happen? Where in the world do you get that? Well, we are working on that 5% profit margin. We are raising it considerably. Okay. So to bring you up. So that ends up being somewhere in the neighborhood of 30%. So if you're at 1.3 million over here, okay, in revenue, what is 458,000? What is percentage of that is, so half of 1.3 million is in the 650 or $650,000 range. So you're shy of that. So you're probably somewhere in the 30 to 35% net profit range for the year. So you divide that out, 450,000 by 12, and you basically almost get $40,000 a month. Not too shabby, right? So this is a lot of things turned on, and not all these things would be turned on at once, probably. But the flip side of that is not all this will be such conservative numbers. So just for fun, let's just crank this up to about 10%. Okay. 5% across the board. We just raised that. All right. So if it wasn't crazy enough, it's about to be insane. Okay. So your revenue down here has gone up to from $700 something thousand. It's doubled to 1.4 million, right? So then that makes your total revenue, $2.2 million. Okay, we started at 793,000. 10% increases across the board. Not realistic, but just for fun. Okay, but look at this over here. Look at your profit. $39,000 to $1.1 million. And in 5 years, this is the 5-year total. If you kept doing the same thing, you'd end up well over $5 million. Okay? So that's fun stuff. That's kind of play money. But let's talk about the secret behind this. Okay, let's kind of talk about what are some specific strategies that would help here, and why those numbers are even possible, right? So I'm just looking at a couple of things real quick. Okay, so as I've said before, you have customers, okay? You do. You've had customers this whole time, but how's your back office? How are the processes that make this happen? How are the systems running? Are you getting billing? Here, let me do this. There we go. Are you getting good billing here? Are you able to are you able to consistently bill customers and make sure that they pay you on time? That's not something necessarily that digital marketing focuses on. Okay. And this is the difference where a coach can come in and make a world of difference for you. Okay. How is that back office going? Do you have somebody handling that? Can we easily train somebody to handle that? That doesn't cost you money. Maybe a family member, maybe somebody who really needs something to do and all they need is a chance. And they need it on a level that doesn't overwhelm them, they can deal with, because you don't have the time. You're out there, if you're a 1 or 2 person shop, you're out there running all the time, working on people's stuff. But what happens is if you don't serve customers well, if you don't bill them properly, if you don't manage those situations, And then pretty soon, sometimes people want special deals if they can't afford something. Well, you need to have parameters to be able to work that out, and still make sure you get paid, because otherwise what they will do is they'll just wander off. Used to deal with this in shipping containers, rentals all the time. We started a shipping container rental program, and the same thing happened. For the 90% of people who did exactly what they were supposed to do and paid everything off and were good about it, there were 10% that just didn't. They were problems the entire time, and they ended up wrecking the whole program. Honestly, for the 90% who did well, the 10% screwed it up. Okay, so that can very well happen in any one of the trades out here. If you're out here, particularly if you're dealing with residential folks. So you have to have somebody minding that back office that's as good or better than you are at running at that portion of the business. They have to be as good or better at that as you are at being an electrician. This goes for any trade. This goes for HVAC companies. This goes for, any number of things. There's all kind of, options and opportunities there. And so you have to be, if you don't have somebody running that back office, it's just so many problems can happen. It's unbelievable. Okay. But the second so we would work on that, as far as making sure that the billing is done well, that everything is kept up with, the ordering of equipment and parts and whatever is done well, the maintenance of equipment is done well. As things get dull, they get replaced, as you make sure your vehicles are up to snuff. Otherwise, problems can happen there, and then your vehicle's sidelined, and that's where all your stuff is. And you got to go do work, but all your stuff is on the truck, and the truck's in the shop because you didn't plan well. Or you didn't get planned for some sort of substitute vehicle while your truck goes into the shop for regular maintenance. Sounds silly, but you'd be surprised how many people this sidelines. You would be absolutely floored. Okay. So the second thing is, that because while that's going on, it takes away from your relationship. So how are referrals going for your business? How are they doing in there? How are you keeping up with customers? How are you keeping up with that networking going? If you don't do that, you have all the customers you can handle, but you could sure have more if you nurture some relationships. Okay. If you do good jobs for people, they leave you good reviews. And more importantly, as far as referrals go, they tell their friends, and they tell, and businesses tell other businesses. So you start getting some real opportunities there because the word's getting out about you, that you are good and you are reliable and you provide lots of value. And it's more than just an electrician. It's providing a lot of good value to that end. Okay. So how is that going for you? And are you keeping up with that? So that's the second strategy we would try, is referrals. You know how much I love referrals. And if you're willing and able to somehow incentivize those referrals, it gets even better in ethical ways. There are plenty of good ethical ways to do that. But you offer somebody something to pass you along. A little bit of a thank you. Maybe it's a gift card, maybe it's a whatever. Doesn't have to be a lot, but it should be something, because then they will do even better. But most of the time in the electrician world is, I would suspect, from people I've talked to that are electricians, and there are many, is just the passing along of you is usually good enough, but paid referral is always better. Okay. Third aspect that we may consider that isn't always talked about, but most of the electricians already know it and already do it. And if you're not, then you're missing out. Speaking of networking, is a concept we call alliances and joint ventures. You're not going to go into complete business with somebody else. That's not what that's about. But this is powered by referrals. And this is networking, and this is kind of taking it a step further as an active part of what you do. So you go find ways to establish yourself with different networks of people. You go find ways to connect yourself to whether it's business groups or chambers of commerce or even like general contractors. If you're an electrician or you're in the trades in general, get you a group of general contractors. Go get you a bunch of realtors. I guarantee you, every realtor that I know, if they're worth anything, has a group of people that they nurture that will solve problems for them in their businesses or their places that they're trying to sell. So they have a good electrician that they can call who will go deal with they can trust to go deal with a problem. Plumbers, same way. HVAC, same way. So the general contractors in general, the realtors they are connected individuals. I can pretty much guarantee you. Maybe there's some trade groups in different places. Maybe there are situations where they're different parts of town and you swap needs, or you go help, like my propane customer has sort of and kind of like what we were talking about with the electricity, but just on a smaller scale. You have sort of a mutual aid thing. Propane guy has a situation where he does call in other propane companies from outside the area if for some reason they're having a real issue, and they send a truck over, and the truck helps him out and helps carry the load, and then and deal with customers in that particular day. And then there will come a point in the future where the reverse is true, where maybe he has a truck to spare and he can send a person over to help deal with with an ongoing issue to provide another truck. So, I mean, it's to service propane customers. So it happens all the time, and it's wonderful. So those three things alone: your back office, your referrals, and your networking, particularly to business on a B2B level, to other businesses and so forth. The referrals, much of the time, takes care of the consumer side or the customer side, but the alliances and joint ventures is also powered by referrals, and it's also powered by connections that you make for people. So that's electricians, right? So let's do this. Let's go back to our profit acceleration simulator one more time, and let's talk about, actually, let me come back. Let's talk about some general contractors. Okay, let's talk about the other side of that coin, still in the same group. Maybe this is you, general contractors. You don't have, you can hang a shingle out on your truck or your whatever, and maybe pick up a little business, but it's not like an electrician or a plumber or an HVAC person. You can't just drive around and people are flagging you down going, "Hey, I need some help over here." You have to work a little harder for that business, and in a more traditional sense. That's not at all a bad thing. It's not a knock on anything. It's just you do. You have to stand out above all the other general contractors that are out there. The trades do too. Don't get me wrong, but they stand out with their service and their reputation. Because if they give bad service, it doesn't matter how many times. They may pick up some new people by default, but they'll pick up a whole lot more with good reputation and good referrals. Without that, in the general contractor world, you don't have anything. So it's some of the same thing. It is referrals. It is for different projects, and I'm not talking about the big, huge building projects. I'm talking about a little bit smaller scale. Maybe building a home would be the top that these folks would go. This is more like renovations or home upgrades or commercial space upgrades or changes or resets. It's that type of level, at least for right now. When you start bidding buildings, and doing that's a whole different level of thing. It really is. And I reached out to those people several times and dealt with them in the shipping container world of all places, because there were building projects that went on and you needed a container to store your stuff in, right? So I got to approach this from a different side and deal with these folks, but it was a different need. I wasn't into their business. I wasn't doing, this was before JKL Works. This was in a different capacity, but we were the ones who provided shipping containers for them. In most cases, it was to do, it was just for storage. for product or material storage. But in some cases, we actually had finished offices, and we'd bring the office out and they could connect it up and they could actually use it as such, as a container office. So but it's dealing with construction on the larger scale. These folks are building buildings and schools and different things like that, stuff from the ground up that wasn't there before. And so it is, there's lots of things to think about there, but we're talking about in general contractor world, we are talking about just the working of the small deal itself, the smaller projects themselves. So what do you guys have to think about? You have to think about referrals. Yes. You have to think about your network. Definitely. Reputation management is a big thing here, marketers, as you know, and as you probably talk to them about, because reputation is, if you get bad reviews for bad performance, they're much more likely to leave bad reviews on that than they ever will good reviews. So you have to nurture the good reviews too. But when people are looking, particularly for their homes, for the remodeling type of stuff, yes, there's advertising. Yes, there's other things. But ultimately, it's going to come back to what type of experience do these guys have, and how were they to do business with. And so that's something you do have to keep in mind. That is something that you have to be aware of, is your reputation, because then that affects referrals. That affects how many people will pass you on to somebody else. But then there is the concept of alliances and joint ventures here, but it's from the other side, where we talked about the trades seeking out general contractors to work with them. Well, the same thing goes. I have talked to more than a handful of general contractors who get referrals from their electricians that they know, or their plumber that they know, or their whatever. They get referrals to larger projects. Maybe that one really isn't working out and the people are unhappy with it. Well, okay, let's give this guy a shot. Let's give this other company over here a shot to make this happen. So, I mean, then they get the opportunity to do something good there, and to come in through the tradesperson that brought them in, right? So, I mean, that's a great way of doing it. But yet there's a third aspect to the general contractors, and it's as much or more important than it is, say, for the trades. And that is controlling we talked about the back office, and mostly as it relates to the customer experience and the billing experience, and making sure that that's all balanced. That too, in the general contractor world, is extremely important. But what is almost equally important is your cost control. This is not something marketers are going to talk about. Okay. This is, and it's not that they don't know, it's just, that's not where their focus is. Okay. So cost control, your purchasing cost for items, and whether or not you're getting good deals, and you're getting good value for those deals. You're getting good quality. It's one thing to buy something cheap. It's another to buy something cheap that has decent value. That's maybe not as cheap, but has decent value with it. And you just got a good bargain. Maybe you're able to buy a lot at once, and so you get a discount. A good purchaser is worth their weight in gold in this department. You can also work on increasing those prices. And I know prices are high enough as it is, and so we don't need to worry about that, except the ones who are winning at the price increase game are the ones that are figuring out ways to add lots and lots of value with it that doesn't cost anything. To add extra peace of mind. Maybe it's extra time spent. Maybe it's attention to detail. Maybe it's something else and that's harder to do in the general contractor world. But to the extent that you can do it, do it. If it costs you a little something to have somebody who is I'm just going to throw something out there. Okay. I don't know that this would actually be a solution or not, but this is what I mean by adding value. You add somebody who is a very good interior design person, and you bring them in to look at the final products and to pick out the colors and the different things, what the client wants versus what they're going for. There is such a thing as color psychology, guys. It does work. And it does provoke different responses based on what the color is. So it can be important. So it is, maybe spending a little bit extra money to have that person on staff that they, or to have them on a contract basis where you call them in, and that's the alliance and joint venture thing again, but they give you an unbelievable rate because you call them in on stuff. And so they're able to provide that service at a much cheaper rate than anybody else would. And it becomes a value added thing because it doesn't cost you that much to the project to add on to it, but it gives tremendous value and gives it this final look that is just impressive, over and above what it was that you did. So, I mean, it's any number of things any ways that you can find to add value. But that's the different aspect of the back office that the general contractors have to think about, right? And so if they do, there's some really cool things that can come out of that. And so this is the 360-degree approach that we deal with in coaching all the time. This is what JKO Works deals with in coaching all the time, is stuff just like this. Finding ways to add value where none existed, and doing it looking at a 360-degree approach to your business, a full, turnaround approach to that business. So let's run some numbers just for fun and for general contractors, and let's see what this looks like, shall we? I just need to check something real quick because I had this all written down. Okay. Yeah. So, all right. So these were some odd numbers too, but they were researched. So, and this is what we can think of as national averages. All right. So we're going to reset all of this on the old profit acceleration simulator. And again, we're going to have some videos that really kind of break this down in a little bit different detail and show you what this would actually look like. And then if you want it for your business, anytime, you're welcome to have it for your business. That is a success blueprint, and that is where that starts. And we'll talk about that, how to get that in just a minute. Or you can go right now to blueprint.jkoworks.com and sign up to get your own. And we'll go through a version of this. We won't have everything turned on, but we will have only the relevant things turned on. All right, so let's change some numbers here. All right. Okay. I think the average, best I can tell, the average revenue is, some reason, again, this is the smaller people. This isn't the ones doing the giant buildings and that sort of thing. But somehow the number $3 million for annual revenue sticks in my head. Okay. So that's what we have there. And let me just verify that I didn't add too many zeros and make it 30 million. Nope, we're good. Okay, so then let's talk about gross profit. So the national average I found there for the U.S. is 26%. Okay, that's there's an awful lot of project costs involved there, but then we knew that, right? So it's actually 26.9 something percent, but let's just go with this. 26%, okay, is what that would be. And the net profit is actually 10%. It's like 10.96. It's basically, let's just say 11%. Because that's kind of in the middle of where that average was. Okay. All right. So we got that. So we're talking about some much different numbers, but yet the graph really hasn't changed that much. So again, 5% across the board is what we're talking about here. And that puts us from $3 million. We add an extra $2.1 million, right? This is in revenue. So you're talking about the $5.1 million we got going on there. So pretty healthy. That's a 65 ballpark, 60%, 65% increase in revenue. Now, unlike the electricians, there's a whole lot that goes into a project of disposable costs. So that number, that's why we kick down to 26%, because it just goes way down. Okay. But if we still add all these things, let's go look over here. So we came away with again, it was a 10%. So $330,000, right? So that's pretty close, or 11% actually. But then we were able to kick that up by putting in all these different strategies that we just talked about, plus about 9 more we didn't. It kicks it up to $1.1 million the first year. This is annual revenue, but the first year. So this is not an increase of 1.1. This is increasing to $1.1 million. So it's $900,000 increase, right? Basically. So in 5 years, we kept doing the same thing, which is kind of unrealistic, but it's just for fun. $4.4 million is what we'd be up to there, right? So this is with a 5% increase across the board, doing all these little strategies. And this is how much it increases the overall revenue coming in, and therefore the profits thereof that you take from it. And you see some of the things we've talked about here. Referrals is not here, but alliances and joint ventures is. And the policies and procedures is kind of your back office. That's making sure all of that's in order. But there are some deeper dives that deal specifically with purchasing and how to make that example work. Along with so there's cutting costs and there's increasing prices. And so you can do all those things when you do that right. All right, let's take our little accelerator simulator and jam it up to all the way to 10%. So that's 5 more %. So now you see we've kind of gone off the rails because we have more to play with, right? So from $2.1 million, we are up to a predictable doubling of $5.5 million, right? That's what we added to the 3 we already had. So now we're making 8.3. Is that right? Yeah, $8.5 million. Sorry. $8.5 million first year. Okay, up from 3. So we have more than doubled it. But that's a 10% increase. And again, 12 strategies, increasing them 10% across the board, probably not going to happen, but we can get a lot of those done. And you'd be amazed how close we get. And some of those numbers can actually go higher. So individual values may vary. You could end up with a 15% increase in something or 20%, but not everything. You know, you'll have it in 1 or 2 places. So let's go over here and look at the profits now. So we're at $330,000, remember. Now we've kicked that up to, my highlighting goes crazy, $2.3 million the first year. So we that was 1.1 something before. Now it's now 1.2 before. Now it's $2.3 million. And in 5 years, we're knocking on the door of make sure I see that right. Knocking on the door of $10 million in profit. That is profit. That is actual net profit, take home what the owner gets once all expenses are met. So what would that look like? How would that change your business? How would that make things very different for you? You know, those are the types of things that we like to play with here. And this is the Profit Acceleration Simulator. This simulates the software that we go through, that we use. But it does it all across the board, which again is a bit unrealistic, but it's fun. And so how would that change your business? How would that change what you do? It's more than just about bringing in customers. Yes, we need customers to survive. That's a big part of what goes on here. We've talked about referrals and reputation management alone. Those are simple marketing principles, yes, compared to say ads or websites or SEO, but they are needed. The foundational stuff still works, and it works very, very well. The alliances and joint ventures is powered by referrals. Okay, so you need marketing, but how are you doing with the back office? How are you doing with the customer experience? How are you doing with making sure that making sure that billing is done on time? That can ruin a business if it's not. It can absolutely ruin a bit. And it doesn't matter how many customers you bring in. If your billing is lousy and you're not getting paid, you're going to fail. And it's only a matter of time as to when. So those are the intangibles in a 360-degree situation. And that's what a coaching experience helps with. That's what me as a sounding board, as a constant reminder when we're meeting 1 hour a week and we're talking about these things and we're working through strategies. And yes, I give you some homework, But yes, I have some homework of my own to do as a coach. And so then we both come back together the following week. And so we talk about what that looks like. So how do you know if this is something that you're ready for? Well, if you're in a place, so we've talked about 3 different strategies for 2 different types of businesses. And if those are your types of businesses or something even close to your types of businesses, or some of those situations resonate with you and you're listening to this and watching it going, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing about purchasing. I don't know what I'm doing about it, but it's a big deal. I don't know what I'm doing about growing my network of people. I don't know how that's going. I'm not seeing the customers in here that I wanted to. I can't just, put a sign on the side of my car and walk around and talk to people and tell them that I'm an electrician and walk out with 3 or 4 different, references. I can't do that. My business doesn't function that way. I've got to fight for everything. And if that's you, this is what a coach can bring you. These are the different things that you don't have the time to think about. Let's just put it this way. When you need something done, what do? You go hire an expert, right? You go find somebody who knows more about that than you do. Now, if you're an electrician, the times are rare, but they do happen when you're in over your head, and you do need to have an electrician who knows more than you do. Maybe they're, instead of a journeyman, they're a master electrician, and they help with some sort of problem that you have no idea how to control. You're just completely out of your league on. But really, for everything else, for your, when your truck breaks down, unless you just happen to be a gifted mechanic along with being an electrician, you're going to take it to a mechanic to have it worked on, right? And preferably somebody you trust, somebody who knows what they're doing, somebody who recognizes that, hey, every minute this vehicle is out of service, this guy is losing money. So they bring you back in. So you hire that expert to get that done. Well, guess what? Coach is hiring an expert too. It's not the people, and I had coaches like this too when I played sports, they'll yell at you. I also had some incredible coaches who took the time to pull somebody aside and work with them and overcome what their situation was and make it unique, make that solution unique to them so the team is better for it. So the same way here. You have a coach who takes the time and the effort to make the team better for it because they're working with you in ways that are unique to you, that don't matter to anybody else, but they resonate with you and they help bring out your best performance. And so then the team wins as a result of that because you're finally giving your full contribution because you're over whatever hang up it was because you and your coach worked that out. Maybe it's pitchers have pitching coaches. Tom Brady had a quarterback coach, in receiving and talked about how to do different aspects better. There are strength coaches and training coaches and business, and they're health coaches and they're life coaches. Well, there's a business coach too, and he's right here. So among, several others, but this one has 20 years of small business success and failure and has some experience working in the trades, working with the trades, being a silent partner of an HVAC company, being a distributor for Daikin. We got to sell to dealers because of our status and what we were doing with containers and putting different pieces of equipment in there. It's somebody who knows what's going on. And if not, there are those times when I'm in over my head too. And guess what I do? I go find me a coach. I go find me a solution to solve that immediate problem so I can come back and be a better resource for my clients. That's the way coaching works, guys. That is the difference between that and just handing it off to some sort of to somebody who's just going to go get your customers, or they're going to do some sort of method that may work. It may work well to go get you customers. I have a company to do my ads. JKO Works does, and I very specifically vetted them for some reasons. Hopefully you'll get to see in action here pretty quick because we're going to have one of our other lives. We're going to have a representative of that company, and we're going to talk about what makes them different and why I chose them. But I too had to go get an expert. I know how to do ads, but they know how to do them better because they do them all day, every day. So this is the same thing. So if you're ready to take that journey of need that your business is ready for something that it's not functioning the way you think it needs to, then perhaps you are ready for a coach. I'm doing something here real quick that I'm switching over, if you will permit me, and making sure I got all these figured out. Okay, there we go. Lots of technology. Then perhaps this is for you. And so this journey starts with a success blueprint, right? Oops, I gotta see, it's one more. It's so many. This is the beauty of live television, folks. Okay, there we go. Success blueprint. Okay. So the whole thing starts with that. This is free. This is taking a little extra time for you guys and working through what we just saw. The Profit Acceleration Simulator. We don't do all 12. We do about 3 or 4, but they are very targeted strategies for your business that are unique to you. We take your actual numbers, your actual profit margins, not a national average, and we actually plug them in, and then we give you the report. It's yours to keep. You can do with it whatever you want. The hope is that we take it and say, okay, how can we make this better for you? How can we bring this along for you? If you're ready to commit an hour a week to your business, this doesn't mean going and getting customers. This is actually working on your business and actually spending that time, then a coach might be for you. Okay. If you're ready to explore all aspects of this, not just sales, this is more than about sales. Sales is a big part. And yes, we will come to that. But it's also, exploring, are your costs in line? Is your pricing, are you leaving too much money on the table because you're too cheap? But you're providing so much value that for new customers, I mean, you can't do it for the old ones. You don't want to raise the prices on them unless you just had to. But all the new ones coming in, maybe you charge something different that's more in line with the value that you provide, so you're not just spinning your wheels all the time. Are you? So we talked about costs. We talked about, are you communicating well with your customers? Keeping them, updated on what's going on, or new opportunities, or new ways to do business with you, or just making sure that you're still around. Letting them know that you haven't gone anywhere. Yes, I've been billing you, and yes, you receive an invoice, and yes, you pay it. Thank you very much. But there's more going on here. And are you mobilizing them to sell for you? So that's what the blueprint is all about. So we take an hour, 50 minutes, and we will find you at least $50,000 in profits you didn't know you had, and we'll show you the exact roadmap to get them, and then we will offer to help you get them. And the different forms that can take depending on where you are in your business, we can do. So I would say, as an electrician, if you're making if you have a revenue of over, $10,000-$20,000 a month, you can deal with. If you're the contractor and your revenue is your revenue before all the costs and everything come out is over, $100,000 a month, then we would be an ideal candidate. If you're just starting out, if you're just getting going with this, yes, we can help you, but it's going to be a different conversation. I've started 6 companies. I've been a part of starting 6 companies. It wasn't just me, and at least half a dozen of them. And I knew the ideas that I was full of in my head, and you're probably full of them too. And they're not bad. They are what drives you. But in your mind, unless you are just such a forward-thinking person that you need help right off the gate and you want to do it right, most would-be entrepreneurs that just start out are not that way unless they've started businesses before. And they're so full of ideas, and they're going to do it their way, and it's going to work, and no matter what. Okay, let's talk in about a year, and let's see if you're still in the same place. Because otherwise, there's not much I'm going to tell you that you'll be able to listen to, because you still have your own ideas. And I said this would be a frank conversation. I want this to be a frank conversation. I don't want this to be ugly. I'm not insulting anybody. I'm speaking from experience. because I was that person. I was full of ideas and nobody was going to tell me I was going to do it differently. And sure enough, it's proved out. And later on, you realize that you actually do need help and that you don't know it all. And that's okay if you don't know it all. That's perfectly fine. It happens all the time, right? Okay, so we have, but that all starts with the Success Blueprint. Or if you're an online only business, that can start with the Digital Success Blueprint. Marketing agencies that are watching this that think I've been slamming them the entire time, I kind of have, but we still need you too. There's plenty of things that you do that your expertise is in that the rest of us is not. Okay, so you are very needed. And how about working together for the benefit of your clients, where JKO Works can handle the business side of things and you handle the marketing side of things, and we work together for the amazing good of your clients, and you'd be blown away. We'll all be blown away at what we can accomplish for them, and making it worth their while. But all this starts for free with a Success Blueprint or Digital Success Blueprint. What do you have to lose? Give it a shot, and let's see what your business looks like, and then you get to keep the results. And you can do them with them whatever you like. If you want to throw them away, it didn't cost you anything but your time. If you're ready for something more than that, if you look at that and go, wow, how can I get there? I think I know some of this stuff, but do you have something else in mind, or do I need some help with this? Yes. The answer is probably yes, you do. You need to call in an expert for a time, for a season, and get your business where it was supposed to be in the first place when you signed up with it, and the dreams that you had and what it's supposed to become, or what the mentor you bought into the system from, the guru, told you it was going to be. It can be that. So, but you need sometimes some help to get there, that's unique and tailored to you. Okay, so these are the different aspects that we go through on a regular Success Blueprint. You saw them already on the simulator. If we look at the Digital Success Blueprint, they're a little bit different, but some of them are the same, and the priorities are different. But the reality is this: we don't look at all these eventually. We will look at all these eventually anyway over the course of time if you say yes. We will come back and visit all these, plus a whole lot more that are in here that we hadn't even touched on. This is where we find things like referrals and direct mail and reputation management, and some different things that are different aspects in one of these 5 categories: fundamentals, more leads, more transactions, more conversions, more transactions, and more profits, and all the strategies therein. We can even take, for a separate cost and a lot of time spent, a deep dive and get you an incredibly long and very detailed Success Blueprint and Digital Success Blueprint. We have that capability, and that may be worth your business's time and effort. We may just do parts of it over time anyhow, because it's really, really good. But you need to pay bills, so we need to get everything. We get these strategies going right away. Okay, then we go, and if you say yeah, at the end of that time of the Success Blueprint, we will ask you. Now, there are some Success Blueprints, like an AC company I did from Arkansas recently, that is doing everything well. They made the commitment a few years ago to adopt a system called Entrepreneurial OS, and they are doing everything right. And so, not to leave at least a conversation unhad, it went something like, okay, so I'm gonna say this just because I would be remiss if I didn't offer, but you don't need the help. You really don't. You're doing everything well. If you want the help, I'm happy to give it, and let's work on this together and go through it. But you don't need the help. You're doing great. So, and sure enough, they didn't need the help, and that's fine. That's cool. So it does happen where a business wants a Success Blueprint. They want to see how they're doing. They want to measure where they're up against. I'll be doing this with some people that I know, in maybe exchange for some knowledge, industry knowledge about different things, and be happy to give them Success Blueprints for what they're doing, because I get something out of it too, and we get extra knowledge. We get a better understanding. and they get a barometer of where their business is. They get a roadmap of where their business is, and here's some things you could try that you're capable of doing, that you can go try. So, but at the end of but there is that time when we will ask if you want help with this. And our hope, of course, because it means revenue in our pocket, is that you say yes. But it not only means revenue in our pocket, it means a great connection. This is where I personally get joy, a lot of joy from, is watching these businesses succeed, because that was me. That was us. That was our people. Working through this, making sure it was getting done. That was us. And so it sounds awfully cliche, but it really is true. Get a tremendous amount of joy out of it. And it's just cool to watch somebody succeed and somebody do well. And then, and yes, to pay our bills and feed our family and that sort of thing as well, as a bonus for doing that. If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life, right? So it's kind of some of the same thing. So that's what we want to do here. And, when that question is asked, maybe you want to spend time thinking about, are you ready for that relationship? Are you ready for that coaching relationship? I skipped forward a little bit on my little slide presentation. But this is a legit question. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for somebody with that level of detail in your business? Are you ready for somebody who, yes, gives you a few things to do from time to time? Are you ready for somebody who will ask you about your business, wanting to learn and wanting to be educated, only to turn around and use it to help you? So that we better understand how you do what you do and can give that back to you. Not everybody's ready. They sometimes think that, and this is different from a digital marketing relationship. JKL Works as a digital marketing agency. That's where our roots come from. And we've had plenty of digital marketing clients. And it is we hand this piece off to you. You go do whatever it is that you're going to do, John, and you come back to us with the results. Coaching is not that way. It's just not. It is far more interactive. And so keep that in mind when you start the relationship, because that's how we approach it. And that's the way it works the best. And if you are open to that, and you are ready to learn, and you are ready to be interactive, and you are ready to put in the time and the work to do it, it's more than just an hour a week that we spend. It's a couple more hours past that. You should be investing in your business, not in selling, not in whatever. This is strictly doing what the back office hard work that it takes to shore up what you have. Be that your sales, not selling somebody, not on the phone selling, but working in your sales process. Not actually, collecting money from somebody, but making sure that system is there where they don't fall through the cracks, and you do actually get that money. And on an ongoing basis, and you can worthily, if that's even a word, hand that off to somebody and feel comfortable that it's going to be taken care of. So you don't have to focus on it, because you're one hell of an electrician, and you're going to be out there, showing that value to people. That's where you succeed, instead of dealing with the back office. All these things are important, but you got to make sure that you're ready for this type of coaching relationship. And if you've worked that through in your head and you decide that you are, then we're happy to start that going. This is an investment in your business. This is something that, if you choose to do it and you're ready for that relationship, you are investing in your business. You are investing in working on your business, not working in it. This is not the day-to-day thing. This is making the day-to-day thing better. This is the 3M of thing. We're not going to make it the products you buy. We're going to make them better, because we've done the back office hard work. So it helps everything run so much more smoothly. And then we do have a guarantee, but if you're ready to invest in your business, if you're ready to go forward, you don't need this thing. You don't, because you'll far out exceed it. But if for some reason we can't find that amount of business, I mean, if we're not well on our way to achieving your results within 6 months, then we're doing something wrong. But at the end of 12, if we still have not, for whatever reason, we will have figured this out long before, and two, we will, we'll refund all your money that you've spent up to that point and work with you to achieve those results still, because it's important to us at that point. It's an ego thing. We'll pay your money back. Let's get that conversation off the table. Now let's solve it. But if we're looking for this, that's all you're looking for is to take money from a small business and accuse them of not performing when they actually were, then we're going to put a stop to that too. Don't waste everybody's time. Don't need that kind of drama in your life, and we sure don't need it in ours. So this is an interactive relationship. If we truly have tried everything and it still doesn't work, then this makes sure that we do right by that relationship, and make sure that that doesn't happen. But my sincere hope and general promise is that we will never get here. But it is here nonetheless. But I'd like to show you the beginnings of profit within 30 days, and be much farther along in 90, and if not achieved everything that our profit acceleration software showed you within 6 months, I want to be dang close. But it's, as we've talked about today, it's more than just about the profit. The profit makes a big difference. Don't get me wrong. Okay, we dwelled on that, but it's also about the efficient running of and effective running of your business. So it frees your life up. It frees your stress up. That goes away. You can get back to the things that bring you joy in your business, why you got there in the first place, why you started it in the first place, why you took it and ran with it in the first place. That's what you want. You don't want this. So, and then we go to the coaching relationship. So this is ongoing. If it's the full ProfitWorks implementation process, this means we spend an hour a week. We add there's other add-ons here if we need them, for prospecting, for running ads. Yes, we talk about running ads. It's just one of the later things that we get to. And likely this company that I've been working with is going to get some of that business if all continues to go well. So, but that's handing that off to an expert. I can do it. We know how to do it, and we know how to but we also know how to shepherd it, and we would rather do that because that's detail work. And they do it well all day, every day. That's what they do. So, and others like them depending on what the service is. If it's building a website, we've got another crew on standby. Just like the realtors we talked about earlier, they have their list, they have their cadre of people that is who they call. They know things will get taken care of. Guess what? So do we. So that's a part of the field general relationship that JKO Works brings to this. But if all this commitment is more than what you had in mind, but you still want some of it, but man, the time is just killing me. I'm not sure about the whole coaching relationship and how that's going to go. Then we have our ProfitWorks Jumpstart system. And we have unlimited 15-minute increment times together, as many as you want. But there's a catch. You get some work to do. There's a little bit of a video to work through, to watch. And there's 2 to 3 tasks that you need to work on. And you only get the next session when those are met, because is not just busy work. This is you working on your business, doing the things that are going to get you to realize those profits that we showed earlier, and some of that fun stuff. We're going to work through many of the same strategies, working off the exact same blueprint, just getting there a little slower. And that's okay. That may be where you're at, and that's perfectly fine. Or people do this because it's a one annual fee. It's a low annual fee for this. Is do that and then use this as a sounding board. We don't have to do the curriculum. We just work through as a sounding board. And hey, I want what and as a trustworthy person who knows about your business, who's not going to go blab it to anybody, internally or otherwise, to say, this is what I'm thinking about doing. Walk me through the pros and cons of this. Okay, cool, no problem. Let's talk about that and what that would look like. So that's a couple of the ways the ProfitWorks Jumpstart. That's one of the reasons that we wanted to get this set up and going, because this is a cool service for everybody who doesn't need the full-blown experience. but still they can get a lot of value out of this. And guess what? If you decide later, hey, I like where this is going. I'm okay with coaching. I now understand what it is and what you do. I get it. I'm ready for more. Then guess what? We can go to the full experience whenever you're ready. And so just by comparison, this is significantly more cost, but it's 1 hour a week. It's a lot of work put in. I mean, I have 5 specific points that I try to meet with that I bring to every one of these meetings that are points about your business and moving things forward and moving things and getting to the strategies that we identified as the most important, and then bringing in more all along the way. Or it's the ProfitWorks Jumpstart, unlimited 15-minute sessions. They're not weekly; they're whenever you want, but there will be markers that you should meet to get your next meeting, and that's okay. And some people just function better that way, and that's fine. It's a lower price, but that's cool. You still get some access to some of the same things, and we talk about bringing that later. Also, I should mention because I forget sometimes, the Success Academy is a part of the big plan. Over here on the ProfitWorks Jumpstart, it's extra, but it's virtual MBA in a box. It is unreal the amount of training that's in there. And you can watch it whenever you want, however you want. There's a workbook that goes with it. And I mean, it's a year long, and you come away with an MBA, basically everything you need to know to have an MBA without the title. But you'll know more and be smarter about the background of your business and the nuts and bolts than most people out there, than most business owners. I'm blown away regularly as how much information is in there. It really is. So that's a part of the same thing too in the mix. So now the choice is yours. If I've been going at this a while, and I appreciate you watching, if this is something that resonates with you, if this is something that could make a difference for you, if you think that coaching relationship might be where this is, if you're a marketing agency and say, you know what, we handle all this stuff better than he does, but we're not handling some of that back office thing. What do we have to do to bring that on board to make our service better? If any of that resonates with you, then let's take a next step together. Let's book a Success Blueprint, even if it's an alliance, or if you don't want the alliance, let's just do down here in the corner. It talks about a business breakthrough strategy call. Now that's kind of what we're doing here, but this is a 15-20-minute version just for you, just for your business, to answer any questions you have. We're not going through any blueprints or any of that sort of thing. We're just talking. And that's a great way sometimes if somebody has very specific questions, that they can get those questions answered. I'm just flipping around there. Yeah, they're down here. It's the Business Breakthrough Strategy Call. Or you can go to strategy.jklworks.com, or it should be on our website at the very bottom of the front page. If you scroll down, there is a place to actually book that, where you can just jump right on the calendar there and do it. If you're ready for the Success Blueprint, though, that is blueprint.jklworks.com, and you get to choose which blueprint you want. The Success Blueprint is for a business with an actual location, whether or not you see customers. So that's most of the trades. That's the health and wellness folks. That's anybody who's not strictly an online business. But strictly an online business is over here at Digital Success Blueprint as well. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Thank you so much for giving me some of this time. I know it's a little tedious, but I think this one actually went a little better than certainly than some of the other ones that are out there. But this is for me about changing the way people think about this situation. There's a lot of marketers out there. They're worldwide. There are a ton. There's a lot of business too, thankfully, and that's what they talk to us about when we first get into digital marketing. Is, there are however many hundreds of millions of businesses that are started each year in the United States alone, let alone worldwide. 200 something million businesses a year started. And of course that takes all shapes and sizes and forms, but worldwide that number is even more. So, I mean, there are businesses everywhere in every conceivable type of situation. And many of those are designed to get you customers. I'm pinged by them daily. They're marketing folks, and there's a lot of you. in some point when we do get the ad agency folks on, we're going to talk about a concept called media overload. There's a lot of it out there, and that's one of the things that they're big on, and they're right to do so because it's a big problem. So this is our way, JKO Works, of standing out against media overload. There's lots of people who will get you customers. There's not everybody who will get your business fit to go get customers. That's what we do. That is real business life change. And if that's something you could be ready for, invest 50 minutes of your time, an hour's worth of your time with me to see if we can make that happen for you. Thanks so much for watching. We will talk to you again very, very soon. We're on Tuesdays live in most of the places you are watching this or are, posted because of the way we have to do pre-recording now. Thank you, Facebook. But we may surprise you and actually do some of those live at some point. And then later on, and then we're also here on Thursdays making this a reality. And we'll bring back some other things as well. You'll be seeing a lot more from JKO Works to help explain what we do, what coaching does, how it helps your business, and how it makes a difference. Thanks so much for watching, folks. We will talk to you soon. Thanks.